All right, good evening and welcome to your regular City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, 2020, and it's 6 p.m. In an effort to minimize the spread of COVID-19 and in compliance with Governor Newsom's executive order, the Laguna Niguel City Council chambers are closed to the public until further notice. Members of the public are strongly encouraged to observe the City Council meetings online via YouTube, live streaming that can be accessed on the city website. Members of the public may submit comments on any agenda item or on any item not on the agenda by email to the city clerk at egomez@cityoflagunaniguel.org. All comments received prior to the discussion of the agenda item will be read into the record up to the time limit of 3 minutes. Any portion of the comment not read out loud due to time restrictions will still be included in the written record. The public portion of this regular City Council meeting will begin at 7 p.m. Madam Clerk, could we have roll call, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Raines.
Present.
Councilmember Jennings.
Here.
Councilmember Genoway.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Minigar.
Present.
And Mayor Davies.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We'll now move to the public communications on closed session items. Madam Clerk, do we have any public communications?
No, Mayor.
All right, we're going to go ahead and close that. Go here. Public communications is closed, and so at this time, I would like to have City Attorney Ines read us into closed session.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item of closed session. It is public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 of the position of city manager. And that concludes my announcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now recess to closed session, which will take place in the community room to follow social distancing guidelines. City Attorney Ennis, is there a reportable action from the closed session?
I will defer to the mayor to make any announcement whether the evaluation was concluded. It was? Okay, then the item has been concluded.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, good evening. I would like to call our regular City Council meeting back to order at 7:06. With this, we're going to start with the invocation by Councilmember Genoway, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Jennings. Please rise.
Please join me in your faith tradition as we pray for guidance for tonight's meeting. Lord, grant us wisdom as we work for the benefit of the residents of our city. You share your holy wisdom with all of us if we have an open mind and a willing heart. May we constantly remember the words of the scriptures that say, "Yet wisdom is vindicated by her deeds." This passage is a consolation and a challenge to us. If we act according to your holy will, God, our deeds will prove to be good. That is the consolation. The challenge is that only in right action do we manifest the wisdom of your will. Divine wisdom, come to us, show us your will and how to do it. May our words be those of your choosing and our actions be those of your will. We ask this in your name. Amen.
I think it's a pleasure tonight to do the Pledge of Allegiance on the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. I honestly can't imagine living in the world that happened before that, and I'm so thankful that it happened afterwards. So if you would, in that spirit, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Huh? What's that?
I said having the three women up here too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, plus it's just not a safe environment to not do that, so.
All righty. Our next item is public communications. Please be aware that the time limit will be 3 minutes for each public comment. City Clerk Gomez, do you have any public comments to read into the records?
Yes, Mayor, I have one public comment.
Thank you.
Welcome. The public comment is from David Salt. Time for a compliment. Dear City Manager, Honorable Mayor, and honorable members of City Council, the Laguna Niguel Aquatic Center staff has been doing an outstanding job during this pandemic. I am a high-risk person whose doctor says one of the most important things for me to do right now is to keep my fitness level as high as possible, especially my lungs, for should I contract the virus, my asthma, immune system weakness, and age will work against me. So lap swimming remains very important to me. Tina, Jeanette, the lifeguards and staff are all doing the maximum possible to keep us safe. They are very strict in enforcing the rules. They allow no cutting of corners, and I know that is to my benefit. So my compliments to those running the Aquatic Center. Please share this compliment with the folks doing such good work. Sincerely, Dave Salt.
Thank you. Always good to have that. And Ron, if you can pass that on, of course, that'd be wonderful. Do we have any other public communications?
No, Mayor.
All right, at that time, then we're going to close public communications. We're going to move to the consent calendar. We have items 1 through 7. Are there any items that council would like to pull?
Hey, Mayor Davies, I need to abstain on an item that's on the check register of August 18th, page 4, vendor number 1220, payment number 7314 to Dell Marketing. That's my husband's employer.
Go ahead, Council.
Number 1.
Are you pulling one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Move the balance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain, except for Councilmember Genoway? Wonderful. Let's move on to item 1, Councilmember Rains.
The reason I pulled this is it's our check registry, but there's an amount on here for law enforcement services for COVID-19. And I just wanted to say thank you to our law enforcement for the hard work they've done. During a period of time, they were working almost 12, I think they were working 12-hour shifts, is that right? And really making sure that we had additional protection in our city. And even with them working so hard to keep us safe during that time, we were able to save $448,000 in our police services. So we appreciate your hard work, and we appreciate the fact that you always have our back. So thank you. And with that, I'll move the item.
All in favor?
Second.
Second.
You guys are fast. We've got a second over here with Councilmember Jennings. All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Move on. Thank you very much. All right, our next item is discussion item number 1, and that is approval of the amended Parks and Recreation Facility Use Policy for the Crown Valley Community Center and Crown Valley Park Facility. Interim Park and Recreation Director River, please provide a staff report.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. At this time, I will be discussing the proposed approval of the amended Parks and Recreation Facility Use Policy for the Crown Valley Community Center and Crown Valley Park facilities. Based on feedback and direction from the City Council in the adoption of facility use policy on August 4th, staff has reviewed opportunities to provide fee waivers for Laguna Niguel veteran groups in recognition of their extraordinary service to our country and our community. The 3 groups identified by the City Council are American Legion Post 281, American Legion Auxiliary 281, and Laguna Niguel VFW. We updated these groups in your red folder provided you tonight. For council direction, the amended policy now includes fee waivers for these Laguna Niguel veteran groups. The fee waiver will provide each of the groups up to 24 hours of meeting space and 6 hours of ballroom space. Blackout days for weekends in June, July, August, and December have been included. The amended policy also addresses minor clarifications and updates. Furthermore, to provide excellent, timely customer service, staff is also requesting the City Council authorize the city manager to make interpretations and exceptions to the facility use policy as needed. At this time, staff is recommending City Council approve the amended Parks and Recreation Facilities Use Policy for the Crown Valley Community Center and Crown Valley Park facilities, and also approve the language in the policy to authorize the city manager to make interpretations and grant exceptions in the policy. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Director Rivera. Councilmember Jennings?
Yeah, I just had a question. I noted, and I don't know that it impacts this exactly, but I noted that the American Legion changed its name since we met last. And I was going to ask, I didn't ask beforehand. I think it's now South Coast American Legion Post 281.
I think they did that to include like the surrounding cities that don't have a post, Aliso Viejo and
That's right.
Dana Point. So
I was just bringing
just
it
to
to
make it more inclusive for other communities to be involved, but it is part of Laguna Niguel.
yeah, and I didn't have any, it changes, not my opinion. I still think it's a good idea, but
Yeah.
I did want everyone to know that it is now a regional post instead of just a Laguna Niguel post.
Yeah.
To the extent anybody,
And the identifier is the post number.
Yeah.
So the posts may change their names, but the identifier and the post 281 was established in Laguna Niguel. And then for the auxiliary, it's unit 281.
and just a point of,
So can I see on the supplemental update is the word unit is missing. Can we add that? Okay, to unit 281. Thank you.
and did we receive any community feedback on the costs or anything like that since we met last?
No.
Nothing? Okay.
Nothing.
Okay, any more questions or comments?
I'd be happy to move the item.
Okay, I've got a motion.
Second,
Got a second from Councilmember Genoway. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion moved. All right, that concludes our discussion items. So we will now move on to council reports and city manager reports. So let's start with Councilmember Raines. Thanks.
Okay, just a few announcements I wanted to make. On August 27th, the Laguna Niguel Chamber is partnering with FAM, and they're doing a Give a Bag Dry Goods Drive. It will be at the Laguna Niguel Presbyterian Church, and you can just drive by. One of the ambassadors from the Laguna Niguel Chamber will be there to take your bag, and it's from 5:30 to 6:30, and you can just drop off a bag. So FAM is doing great on getting their produce, but they're running low on dry goods. So this is an opportunity for us as a community to help them restock their dry goods. So just drop off your bag, drive through, drop it off, and be on your way. So that's happening on August 27th. If you could post that, maybe.
Yeah,
So
we
that
are.
okay,
Mhm.
perfect. And just keep in mind through Wednesday, we need to be preserving our energy. There could be some potential outages, and just if you have any special needs or whatever, make sure that you're in contact with the power company to make sure you don't lose your power if you need that. Saturday, Councilmember Genoway and I had the privilege of going to the Dana Point Strands with our military support committee and observing our adopted unit, the USS Stockdale. They were out doing their exercises, preparing for deployment, and they were close enough where we could see them, and they raised the flag, and it was a really incredible opportunity for us, and we really enjoyed it. So it's just the work that our military families are doing and everything that they're doing to prepare. So it was great to be part of that. And then I'm going to ask you to indulge me for a moment. I know my council colleague Jennings started off with honoring the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. Today is the 100-year anniversary of the movement for women's rights, which began almost a century before in 1848 with activists Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Lucretia Mott, and Susan B. Anthony, who raised awareness for women's rights to vote. I really didn't think I was going to get emotional. With the onset of World War I and the contribution made by the women in the U.S. being victorious, President Wilson changed his position in support of women's rights. He acknowledged the suffrage movement and proposed a suffrage amendment. Wilson stated, "I regard the extension of suffrage to women as vitally essential to the successful prosecution of the Great War on humanity in which they engage." However, Wilson's appeal failed. A year later, on May 21st, 1919, Representative Mann, a Republican from Illinois and chairman of the suffrage community, proposed a House resolution to approve Susan B. Anthony's amendment granting women the right to vote. The measure passed with 2/3 required majority. It was sent to the states for ratification, and at the time, not all states ratified, and the South states were very much opposed to it. However, in Tennessee, the Republican Representative Harry T. Byrne voted to ratify because his mother convinced him to approve it. With his vote, the amendment was fully ratified. Another example of women's leadership. On August 26, 1920, the amendment was certified by the U.S. Secretary of State, and on November 2nd, 1920, 8 million women voted. The suffrage movement was just the beginning of women's rights. Today, women can not only vote, but we can have bank accounts. We can work for the income that we earn and keep it. We can own property. We can own a business. We can run an office. And we can run for office. So we've come a long way in 100 years, and I'm proud to represent the women of our community as an elected leader. So 100-year celebration today. Thank you.
Would you like to follow that, Councilmember Jennings?
Yeah, no small task. Thanks
Have
again,
anything
by
to
the
say
way.
about that, sir?
Yeah, thank you. I guess my comment in following that comes as a husband, as a dad of a daughter, as a colleague of women who I respect very much, and as a coworker in a world that I'm so blessed to see that there's equal parts for everyone, regardless of your gender. And I truly don't understand it. I mean, I don't get those who would seek to have any difference in that regard. And I can only say from my own example that I'm blessed to be outnumbered on the dais. I have every reason to believe that we're better for that. And I'm also proud to be a member of Laguna Niguel, which has been championed by women for a very long time. Founded, a bit of history of Laguna Niguel, if this helps, is it was founded as a place to give more rights to women. In fact, the early promotional materials for Laguna Niguel had women featured in them, which was unheard of at the time. And so this was intended to be different. And so the fact that we've gone through all this, we have department heads, we have a city manager who's a woman. I think it's every now and then you need to stop for a moment and go, I think we've done something here. I think we've fixed a problem. And if you're somebody who disagrees with me, I don't have any time for that. So I think it's a great place to be. So thank you very much to those who 100 years ago, which there is no truth to the rumor that I was around for that. But I do appreciate what they did. I wanted to give a shout out of an opportunity. We heard about the chamber doing something. I know that Mission Lutheran Church is doing a few drive-through drives. One is shoes for the Orange County Rescue Mission. Another is school supplies for Project Hope Alliance. And one is food for South County Outreach. And those are all charities that the city is very involved with and very much supportive. And those drive-throughs you can drop them off in their Yosemite and La Paz on August 19th, 20th, and 21st from basically 11 to 3 in the afternoon. So if you have any supplies, they'll be out there. It's all social distance. You drop it off and off you go. And it's a good opportunity. So with that, that's it. Thank you very much, Mayor.
All right, Councilmember Genoway.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Davies. So continuing with the theme of the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote, the early leaders of the women's suffrage movement, Susan B. Anthony would talk about how we needed to develop leadership skills in women so that they could speak up for their rights. And then I believe it was Elizabeth Cady Stanton who said that women are the guardians of the human species. So that's what we do very well here in as elected officials, to be guardians of the people in our city. But let's talk about developing leadership. The Laguna Niguel Military Support Committee has worked with one of our Girl Scouts in our community who has earned her Silver Award. Her name is Hannah White. And there is now a mailbox in the lobby of City Hall for letters that our residents can write to the Marine sailors and soldiers in our adopted military units or to veterans. So when City Hall opens, you'll see that there's a mailbox there. Our residents can put their letters in that will go to the Military Support Committee for distribution to our active duty and to our veterans. So thank you, Hannah, for bringing that project to the city. And we congratulate you on receiving your Silver Award. That's a great accomplishment. And Hannah is one of our future leaders here in our city. So we like to do whatever we can to help the youth develop in their leadership skills. One of the things that we also do for promoting youth in our city is to teach them about local government, which means it's time once again for Junior Civic Workshop to begin with the new school year. So this year will begin a little bit differently in that we will be doing it as the students are receiving their classroom instruction via Zoom. We will have the Junior Civic Workshop sessions via Zoom. And the first one will be September 8th. That's the second Tuesday of the month, beginning at 6:30. Junior Civic Workshop is for all middle school students. That's grades 6th, 7th, and 8th, where they can learn about what does local government do and how does it impact or affect the life of their family and the community. They can also learn about the different agencies that the city partners with for the quality of life here. So the first session will be about the city council. What does the city council do? What does the city manager do? And also, how do you tell the history of Laguna Niguel through the different symbols in our city seal? So that'll be the first session. So we look forward to welcoming all of the returning middle school students and the new middle school students. Information will be coming out from Parks and Recreation on how to sign up for that. So we look forward to seeing you all via Zoom, and the middle schools do give service hours for that because the students are taking time to learn how to be responsible citizens. The second one in October will be the Registrar of Voters. So the students will have a better understanding of why they see all those election signs popping up around town. But middle school students and parents, look for the announcements from our Parks and Recreation Department for Junior Civic Workshop, because it's time to start again, and we're looking forward to it. And Mayor Davies will be at our first session, as will City Manager Letourneau. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The only report I have is based on the latest ARENA reporting by Southern California Association of Governments. As of last month or so, out of 484 cities in the state of California and 58 counties, the city of Laguna Niguel, in conjunction with the city of Newport Beach and city of Santa Ana, are the only cities in the county of Orange out of 34 cities that we have met the requirements of RENA as of the last reporting, which was dated April 2019. That means that we are not subject to all those requirements under Senate Bill 35 for the statewide determination process. So this is a very, very good news for our city. A lot of cities that I'm in contact with, like Beverly Hills, they don't know what to do because they are in deep trouble because they don't know how to meet their requirements. But
So you're saying it's better to live here than Beverly Hills? Are you going
Wow.
which this is Beverly Hills
tides
of
have
Orange
changed.
County. I always advocate for it.
Well, I think we should all jump up and cheer. That's great news.
That's
Councilor.
awesome. That is
Absolutely.
incredible.
This is great news, and thank you, staff, for reporting it properly, because some agencies have had difficulties with regard to the reporting. All the reports that I get, sometimes there are a lot of errors and mistakes in the reporting aspect of it, but the city staff has done a superb job, which is a reflection on all of us, and we are very proud and pleased with it.
That's great. All right, I'm going to move to our city manager.
Yes, I have
Letourneau.
a few updates for you this evening. As was mentioned earlier, we are currently in a stage 2 power emergency in the state of California, which means that rotating outages are imminent. This is expected to last through this week. I've been in constant communication with representatives from SCE and SDG&E, and I was on a statewide call a little while ago with the governor's office, providing some updates as well. With our city facilities, we're doing everything that we can to conserve energy and communicate those updates with the public. And we're being told to expect those rolling blackouts, so they may continue to come. I will continue to provide you and the community with the most up-to-date information that we have. But everybody, as was mentioned earlier, should be prepared. Our website. I hope you've all been to the new website. It launched yesterday at noon. Oh, a round of applause for the new website. Yay. We hope everyone finds it easier to navigate and find really important information. So I encourage the public, if you haven't been, to go check that out. We're really excited about it. Yosemite Park Bridge, a project update, a long-awaited project update. Last week, the construction fencing was installed around the work area at the park, The landscape contractor will be on site this week to initiate the demolition and the removals, which is phase 1. And the next phase will be the bridge rehabilitation and new landscaping that will come over the next couple of months. We are in communication with the Homeowners Association and keeping them updated and providing them with project updates along the way, and we'll continue to do so. Sports fields have been allowed to reopen for conditioning drills and skills training. So I'm happy to report that long-awaited approval that we were able to obtain. And drive-in movies. So the Regency Theater on Rancho Niguel Road is going to have drive-in movies August 20th through 23rd and 27th through the 30th. And anybody interested in the details and what movies they're showing can go to the website regencymovies.com. For more information. So that concludes my report.
That's wonderful. A question on that. Do you know if they're going to have the concession stand open inside?
I don't have the details on how they're going to do that. I suspect they may be doing something outside if I had to.
That's
Yes.
exciting. It's something we've never done. But again, we're recreating activities, so that ought to be a lot of fun. Well, I think it's only fitting as we talk about, the women's movement and tonight, because tonight I'd like to adjourn our meeting in memory of Sandra Wise Simonson, better known as Sandy. And you talk about a woman that had influence. She really was the face of Laguna Niguel. Sandy passed away today at the age of 87. Sandy leaves 4 children, Cy, Michelle, Kip, and Eric, as well as 7 grandkids and 6 great-grandkids, one that was just born a week ago, which she was aware of. So very, very special. And just a little bit of information on her. Sandy was the face of Laguna Niguel. She loved our city and the people in it. She never stopped giving back to her community. She owned the Hallmark Butterfly Shop for years, which is now Diane's Hallmark Shop over here. She was actually one of the first female business owners, which was quite impressive. She was involved in everything, including volunteering at the library, the senior center. She was a member of the Red Hat Society. She was very involved in Laguna Niguel Republican Women Federated. She helped out at a church. She was a woman of God. And Sandy was also a friend. Sandy lived in the same complex as my husband and I did. And that's kind of where I got to meet her. And I'd meet her, we'd ever go over there for Christmas because she had the Hallmark store. I mean, she had decorations like you wouldn't believe. She loved her holidays. And we'd go over there and she'd show off her tree, or I'd see her walking her dog. She actually worked in her later years over at Save-Ons, which is CVS. And so every now and then I'd see her starting to walk home because she walked everywhere. My husband would pick her up or I would pick her up. But she was just, someone that truly loved, loved people. She loved the city. So I just want to say to Sandy, thank you for the blessings that you've given us. Thank you for your passion, your patriotism, and the zest for life that you had. You would truly be missed. So with that, I'd like to adjourn at 7:32. Thank you very much.